Alright, this is a firewall forward quick video. Some folks have had questions, and it's probably easier to answer them this way. Then this is not scripted, so if I miss something or I repeat something, you just have to live with it. Here we go. Anyhow, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I used closed loop or extruded hinges all the way around the firewall. Now, these hinge loops are exactly the same size as the hinge pin that comes with them. You'd think it'd be really hard to get that hinge pin in and out, but it's not. It's actually pretty easy. In fact, I bought an RV6 and I'm having a hard time getting the hinge pins in and out, and they use the bigger hinges. So I don't know what I did right by accident, but this thing fits pretty good. I've had some questions about this. This is actually a box that catches the hot air coming out of the oil cooler to heat the cabin air. I've got a little bit of a phobia about putting things around a muffler and having a problem later on with a crack or whatever, introducing carbon monoxide into the cockpit. I don't want to have to deal with that. So I tried to use the hot air coming out of the oil cooler, and it gets warm, and it works in Florida for the winter time, both days of winter. But that's about it. If you live somewhere cold, this is not going to work. You're going to have to go ahead and go with the stock system. It's not easy to, well, I should say it's not easy to get a hot cockpit with this, but it will be easy to go ahead and alter that and put the original system on there. I do not have any problems with oil cooling. This works great. I didn't like the way they mounted it on the back of the engine, and I kept reading about people having problems with cracking. So I opted for this, and I've had no trouble at all with it. I do have a cooling blast tube for the gascolator. I don't know if it makes a difference or not. I've never had any problems with hot starts or anything else, or any problems with fuel delivery. I also have these corrugated blast tubes for both the PMags and one for the alternator. I heard that you could go either way with this. I thought it would be safe on the safe side and go ahead and add that. This plenum, I've had a lot of questions on this plenum, and in fact I've had some unasked for advice that I should get rid of it because it's going to be cooler without it. The thing runs just fine now. I don't have any heating problems at all, any more than normal, I should say. If I can climb to about 5,000 feet fairly slowly, pretty steep climb, and I may get to 400 on a hot day. I can't really show it with the cowling off, but I probably only got about maybe a little less than 1/4 of an inch all the way around the back of the spinner to the cowling, and I had worried about that because I was concerned about sag and maybe it becoming closer, but it hasn't been an issue so far. So just want to let you know that if you start having some sagging, you're probably going to have to go ahead and shim the motor mount to get it back where you need it, but so far I haven't had any trouble. This engine is pretty light. I don't have an alternator in the front. That helps keep some of the moment arm off the front of the engine. The only alternator I have is this SD20, and I chose it because it has no belt, no brackets, basically nothing to keep it from working except the alternator self-quitting. Alright, this air box has been altered because I have an 0360 cowl in this plane. This is an 0320 engine. And so I ended up doing this instead of altering the cowl, because if I chose later on to put an 0360 in this plane, I didn't want to have to fool with the cowl again. Lithium-ion battery. I put it forward of the firewall because I've had people basically, I wouldn't say chew me up, but convince me that these things could catch on fire and you could die in the air and all that. However, I haven't heard of one failure of this particular battery, and I don't think, even if it were a bad battery, that this 20 amp alternator is going to run away and overcharge it. 20 amps is not a lot of power, and I very much doubt that the battery's going to have a problem dealing with it. I used to have it underneath the flooring here for a little while, underneath the baggage floor, but I was convinced to move it. Now this is just copper strap. It was pounded out of a piece of copper tubing, and this is a piece of copper tubing. They are both super light, and no, I'm not having problems starting the airplane. They easily move the amperage I need to start the airplane. So that kept quite a bit of the weight off of all these battery cables. I've only got the two. This one here, and this one here for the negative. What else can I tell you? Oh, the battery box, I was concerned about cooling because I've heard that these lithium-ion batteries don't like heat. And I don't mean they don't like heat because they're going to catch on fire. I mean they don't like heat because they won't last long like that. So this blast tube is actually fed off of a short piece of tubing that's coming out of the bottom of the cowling. And you just slide this in there once this thing's assembled, and it forces air into this box while you're flying. And even when you're not flying, it's touching the firewall, so it's getting air cool, direct cooling from the inside of the airplane where it's touching that. And also you're going to have the cold air is going to be rising, hot air is going to be rising to get out of the cowling, and so it'll still slowly be having cool air going up through this. Let's see what else. I can't think of a damn thing. I'm going to go ahead and quickly show. Good timing.